Hi, Erin. Welcome. Hello, hello. Welcome. A couple more minutes to let others join in.
Especially if you're ready to.
Hello, hello. Welcome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Some more will jump in, and if we need to rewind a little bit, we can, but I know you guys have busy days, so let's move forward. Welcome to today's live demo. My name is Michelle, and today the topic is creating your first event for photography sales. And so one of the things that basically the key idea for this is with the initial upload, you can create an IPS session, a client gallery, or mobile apps. So that way the images stay in one specific place. So from there, like I said, you can create multiple sales sessions. So we're going to go through several of those topics today. I might be a little lengthier than normal because I want to cover a few things. We have lots of new people, so I hope they're able to join. If not, I'll be recording so that you guys can watch this at a later date. So I'm going to share my screen here in just a moment. So if you guys are InView users already and you have an account, go ahead and log into your admin if you want to follow along and do this with me. Otherwise, I'll show you and you can ask questions along the way, and I'll try to keep up with those in the chat. Otherwise, we'll do some Q&A at the end and cover some topics that you guys have questions on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's just make sure I have this all set up correctly. If you don't see it, let me know. All right. Okay, move that to the top here. And I'm going to minimize this. All right, so here we are in the admin area of InView. And so this is usually where you get started. There's a couple of places that you can create an event. So I just want to make sure that I cover a couple of things. You can create from these three boxes. You can also create from this button right here. Okay, and so one of the things that I will refer to throughout this demo is the help option. So there is a support center. When you click on that, you can type in any question here or title that you want to search for, and that will pop open and give you instructions there. Okay, and so usually if you're in that area, when I hit help, it'll give you a video of an admin overview or an article that you can click on automatically. So that's just a reference, you know, that we have built in into almost every page for you. Okay, but now I'm going to go ahead and create. I like to use this button. You can use any of these right here, but I choose to create from this main button. You choose create, and from there, you can create a client gallery, in-person sales, or a mobile app. And so one of the things I want to touch on is it really is up to you and your workflow and how you do your sales. Whether you choose to do an in-person sales session first or a client gallery first, there's no wrong or right. It's your personal sales, however you choose to do that. And so I'm going to do an in-person sales session first because that is kind of the happy path and what we have seen and learned from photographers that seems to work best, with the client gallery being the second sale. But like I said, it's whatever works best for you and your business and your workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and click in-person sales session. And this initial does not really matter. At some point, we will have a button that says create an event. So when I go to create an in-person sales session, it's going to open up the event setup. And this is where you will enter your client's name. So I'm just going to put in view event setup. Okay, and I'm going to do the session date, which we're doing that today. Next step. So here is the add images section. So there's several options here, and I'm just going to touch base quickly on this. We have where you can upload directly, or you can search for the images, and I'll show you that here in a moment. But we also have the Lightroom plugin. So if you're a Lightroom user, we do have the Lightroom plugin. So they do talk to each other. You can create your event from Lightroom and upload your images that way. But we also have the upload later. So what that is a coming soon page. So a pre-post is what we initially call it. So you can create an event without the images. And if you're at an event and you have a QR code, or maybe you have event cards or an iPad there where your customers or the guests can enter their email address to see the images once those are uploaded and published. And so that's a topic that we can touch on at another time. And I have videos, if you request those, I'll send those over to you. But the purpose of that is to gather the email addresses. And just keep in mind that every event or client gallery that you create or you send out is attached to email addresses. So what's happening is you are gathering all the information and the data and activity that happens within that event. Okay, and that's why it's associated with an email address. Orders, favorites, ratings, things in their cart, and their purchases, which are important information that you need for your sales workflow. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And I am going to upload original resolution. You can do low or original. It's up to you. Now, something to keep in mind, if you look here at the bottom, it gives you information on what you need to upload. So for InView, it is JPEGs. Okay. And it's JPEG extension. File names may not exceed 100 characters. 30 if you auto-fulfill through InView. And basically what that means is if it's too long, then our system isn't going to recognize it. And that information will be lost. So you want to make sure that you have the right amount of characters. And then you also want to have, the professional printers, the use is the sRGB format, Pro Photo. So Adobe 1998 will be converted to sRGB. So that's something to keep in mind. And also when you're naming your files in sequential order, you want to pad the numbers with zeros, for example, 0001, 0002. And that just helps keep those sorting options available, so you have a little bit of room to organize those. But also if you have multiple photographers, putting images from the same session. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the cloud. So you can do two things. You can go and search for your folder and just upload the folder, or you can open it and do several images highlighted and then open. But what I want to talk about here is we do allow you to do a pre-categorized upload. And I am going to do that so I can show you what that looks like. So if you have, this is really good for volume or large events or corporate sessions, weddings. So if you have multiple folders and categories for specific images, and this helps your the consumer search for their images a lot faster. Or maybe a wedding, you want to password protect that folder of getting ready images, so the rest of the guests don't see those, and that's more private for the bride. All right, so I am going to go ahead and upload pre-categorized, and what that means is you have a main folder name. Maybe it's the client's name, and then inside you would have separate folders that have the images in it, or several names of a customer. So if it's a sporting event, maybe it's game 1, 2, 3, or girls basketball, boys basketball, or getting ready, ceremony, reception. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to select this main folder. Okay, you can just drag that folder. So this is another option. So if you just want to go to your desktop and find that folder, sorry, I have it hidden behind here. I meant to just drag it. So you can click the folder and just drag and drop it, and it's going to upload it to either an in-person sales or a client gallery. Begin upload. And while that's uploading, it's going to show you at the bottom preparing to upload. All right. And once it starts uploading, it's going to show you a number count right here at the bottom. It might take just a second here as I'm sharing. So here it'll tell you percentage complete, the size of the file for the upload, and you can stop it at any point if you choose to. All right, so here is your event dashboard, and that's what I was talking about. Is we create an event, and then within that event, you have different activities and sessions that you can do. So you have your in-person sales session, your client gallery, and your mobile apps all in the same area. And the stats, what that means is we record all activity that goes on. And so every person that logs into that event, it'll say in-person sales, it'll say client gallery, it'll say what browser they're using, how long they were looking, and download information if you offer digital downloads. So I'll show you this once we do some recording within a quick session. Okay. All right. So where did those images go that we just uploaded? It's going to be under images. So any activity as far as sorting your images, any of the categories that you create are going to be all listed within this title of images. So here's your thumbnail. Any sorting will be here. And you can also click on the image and move them. So if you'd like, you can hide the file names. You can download these images. That's just kind of organizing your images, and that's another topic, but we will stay focused on creating the event. And so here, if you look, here's my main folder that I uploaded, and this would go the same for a client gallery when you're creating a gallery with those different categories. So if you look here, I have orange, pink, red. So of course, that could be any topic here as far as a subject goes. And let's just say you want to sort them or add a subcategory. You can just click and drag the orange into the pink, and then it creates another subcategory. Okay. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, and you'll see the plus sign. All right. Okay. And where it says favorites, ratings, and orders, this is where your customer's email address will show up. And you will see that as a sample here in just a moment. And that's why it's really important that they enter their email address because it's tied to all the activity that they do within that sales session or the client gallery. Okay. And I'll show you that here briefly. Does anybody have any questions currently as regards to creating the event itself? All right, very good. So I'm going to move forward, and what we're going to do is I'm going to do a flyover on the in-person sales session setup and the client gallery setup, just so that you can see how that all goes into play. All right, so when you do that, when you're ready to set that up, you're going to go to the event dashboard. And before I do that, let's just say you uploaded images and you don't have all of them there and you want to add more images. You can always do that within the images tab up here at add images. Okay, and if you're doing a pre-post, then you'll want to add images to the event from here. But you can also add images by just clicking on the category folder. So maybe you just want to upload images from the pink outfit here. You can hit add images here. Okay, so that's another option. It looks like we have a question before I go back to the event dashboard itself. All right, okay. So if the client has 30 favorites, will it show up in images, favorites rating? Yes, absolutely. And I'll show you that here in just a moment so that you can see in real time here how that plays out. All right, so I am moving to the event dashboard. And I now, depending on how you want to do your sales workflow, I'm going to go ahead and set up the in-person sales session. So I'm going to give it the client name, and I'm going to do in view event setup. Okay. This. Normally you would put your client's first and last name, and then you're also going to want to use their email address. Okay. And so, like I said, everything is tied to an email address. So if your customer provides you a room to display in room view during their sales session, you would need to do the sales session with that same customer's email. Like I said, it's tied to all activity, and that's super important for you to understand. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hit continue. Now, this is, again, another topic for another time, but we do have presets, so you can pre-record all of those settings and the saved themes, which is the look and the feel of the event, and you can create as many presets as you would like. But for now, we're going to do this manually so you can see how that setup plays out. Okay, so the presentation workflow for an IPS is welcome screen, slideshow, polling, room view. That's our suggested workflow. This is a higher percentage of the, the events that take place with most photographers that we have spoken with, but you can simply create your own by removing the welcome screen, adding polling next. Maybe you want to skip the slideshow. So that's all options. For now, I'm going to go with the in view suggested. All right. And the slideshow, if I do provide a slideshow, you can upload your own link to Animoto, Vimeo, YouTube. We do have photographers that do that. Otherwise, you could use our simple slideshow that has, your basic transitions and speeds, and you can add some royalty-free music. All right, so here I'm going to go ahead and you can select all of the images to go in the slideshow, or you can select specific ones. So I'm going to go ahead and select all, hit select. So now it takes me to the rating system. So if you want to offer ratings during your sales session, you would select what rating you would like to use. So if you are a Lightroom user and you're used to the 4-star, 5-star, then this might be something that you want to utilize. Otherwise, if you're new and you're not sure, yes, no, maybe is always a good solution. I like that one the best. I like all the little faces. So I'm going to select that. And then the initial polling view this you can change once you get into the sales session, but I like to choose the thumbnail view as my initial viewing. And I'll show you that here in just a moment. All right, and then here are all your settings as far as turning on the shopping cart, all the settings that you would want to create for your sales session. All right, so I'm going to keep moving. Real view, that's if you want to display the images in real size, depending on the device you're using. I'm going to skip this, but you can calibrate your TV, or if you're projecting, what you would do is select the size of that device. So you would measure this on your projector wall or your television screen and then put the numbers here. And once you do that, let me just say 60, finish setup, and it's all set and ready to go. And you can also do that if you're in someone's home doing an IPS session. All right, so now that that's done, we now have the event set up. And so we can go in, and I'm going to just fly over these settings because we're really just talking about the event setup at this time. But the welcome screen, you can customize that, the look and the feel of all of the settings here for your customer. So you can put title lines, you can move this button. You can also change the color of this button. And that is going to be in the other slideshow. Okay, so we already gone through the slideshow of picking the images, and you can sort them here at the bottom, but you can also change the transitions. You can add the music. One thing I will add a note to is you want to make sure that you fit to screen instead of fill to screen. Because if you have a lot of horizontal and vertical, if you do fill screen, sometimes it will cut off the top of the image. So you want to be aware of that. That would be my suggestion. Okay. All right. And then as far as culling, we went through that, and here's room view. So if you want to offer that as a feature during your sales session, you want to make sure that that is toggled on. And then here are the rooms that we have available stock-wise. So you can toggle them on or off if you'd like to, and you can upload your own room if you'd like to. But one of the coolest features we have, and I do live demos on this specific feature, so I can share that with you, or at the end if you have questions about it. You can do this very simply by texting or emailing the Room View Direct instructions to your customer. And what that does is they get a message on their phone, and it says, hey, here's the instructions on sending your photographer a room in your home. And so it's very simple, easy instructions. And that way you get the record of it immediately. And there's no additional work. So it's very easy. All right. Okay. So now we're going to go into the selling, which we already talked about, the price list. And like I said, this is a quick overview, but I just want you to know where these are. And if you do have questions, we can talk about it. Theming, this is where you would customize your brand colors or specific to the event. Maybe it's the wedding colors, or if you have a senior girl or guy, or a baby girl, or a senior guy, you would kind of want to customize that. All right, and brands and studio information. This is if you have multiple brands for your business, you can select which brand you want to present with. Okay, so if you have one for weddings and you have one for your school and sports or your event photography, that is an option. A lot of people will use that for their boudoir as well. I'm making sure we don't have any questions. All right, an image display, that is the gutter size. So I'm just going to click here so you see what the gutter is. So when you go to the thumbnail view, there's a white line between these images, and that's what that gutter is. Show file names if you want that on or off. And then also, if you are doing remote sales, IPS and you want the watermark to be on your images, then you can toggle that on here. All right. Okay, so now any links or videos would be presented here. So we talked about that. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the event dashboard. So once you've created one, it'll say this status is published. All right, so we're going to do begin sales session. And something very important to take a note is you want to begin the sales session, because if you are editing the IPS and you just start the sales session right here from the preview mode, it's going to record under your email address and it won't record the client's information, which is very important that you begin the sales session from this button. Okay, if you're in the preview mode, you want to begin from here. If you're in the event dashboard, you want to begin sales session from here. And now I'll explain why. All right, so if you look here, you have the option to have multiple clients for the same event for this session. So if you have extended family, or maybe you have divorced parents of a high school senior, you would add the client for each session that you're doing. For now, we know this is the one that we're going to be using. So you want to make sure you select that customer and hit next. And that takes you to, which display type of sale that you're doing. So this could be single screen or dual view. Single screen is best when the photographer and the client are on the same screen. So if you're sitting in a coffee shop, or if you are sitting at a desk or a sofa together. Otherwise, dual view is great for in studio, or if you are in their home and you're projecting on their television or their projector screen, but also for remote IPS. Okay, and we'll talk about dual view at another time, but I just want to fly over a sales session so that you can see where those ratings and favorites show up in your event dashboard. All right, so I'm going to choose single screen and I'm going to begin the sales session. And does everybody still see my screen okay? If so, give me an okay. I just want to make sure everybody can still see it. It appears we're good. No one's saying anything different. So, okay. Yes. All right. Very good. All right. So when I click the button anywhere on here, I have my menu button. I can go anywhere I want to in the sales session. And I can also move this around. All right. Just so you know. Okay. So I can simply just click anywhere I want to on this image and it'll go into the slideshow. And when the slideshow is over, it'll say exit. So I can pause it or I can hit continue. And it goes to that initial culling view that we talked about. So all of those views are right here. So you can change it to single view. If you want to compare images, you have that option by just selecting the images and they'll pop up and you can compare and zoom in and out. Or you can do the single image. And all of these views have ratings and favorites. So you can go through that and rate and favorite those at any time. Okay. And then also when I go back, all images is right here. And you have your live demo category. So I can go to that. But also you can create favorites folders. So all of your favorites, every image that you heart is going to go into this folder. So you can create these ahead of time if you want. So let's just say wall art. Use my spelling here. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another one. And you can pre-create those, which is really nice, and save those as a preset. So if you know you're always going to sell wall art and you always are going to have a gift prints, sold in an album, then you can create those ahead of time. Otherwise, you can create them on the fly. And the purpose of that is just to, keep your sales session organized. All right, a quick question, lost you. Can you go back to compare mode? Yes, I can do that. I'm in compare currently. So if you want, you can select multiple images at the same time, and you can also rate them and favorite them. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to the thumbnail view. This is so I can go ahead and rate some, because I want you to see what that looks and feels like. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to several of these and no to some of these. And you can see down here in my filters, I now have 3 yeses and I have a no. All right. And so I'm going to favorite them as well. So I'm going to hit the heart, and it asks me, do I just want to put them in a favorites, or do I want them to go in specific folders? So I'm going to say, yeah, I might want this as a wall portrait, and I'm also going to want this in my album. So it will filter and put those in both of those for you. Okay, and now you can move on. So now I'm going to say, you know what? I think I'm done with going through my culling. I'm done rating. And I'm going to go in and purchase this. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to purchase this as a 16 by 24, and you can adjust the crop if you'd like. And you can show them in room view. And I know this is a flyover because we're not focusing on that. We want to focus on the main topic, but this, since we're here and there's several that are new, I want to just make sure that you have some of this content. Okay, so you can choose a room. And if you remember, we said we sent the room to a customer, if that's a choice of yours. And if so, it's going to show up here. Okay, so you can change the room at any time. All right. And you can add more wall collections if you want to. You could do several of those and do a collage, but you can preset the collages as well. So lots of fun stuff that you can do with Room View to grow your sales. Okay, and we'll add it to the cart. All right. Continue shopping. So if you notice here, and it's another topic we can talk about, but you can add notes to the images. So at the image level, the item level, and the order level. So for example, if I know that I am going to have this as a 16 by 20 on the wall, and maybe I need to retouch, you know, this a blemish or whatever. You want to make sure you put the notes there. And then maybe I put my frame choice 3 black here, and here maybe they have a referral credit, or this ships to grandma. You could put whatever notes there. So I'm going to save that just so that you can see. And I'm going to go ahead and add this to the cart, and I'm going to view the shopping cart. So if you look here, I have an individual print, and then I have my notes here that I created. And then I have it, see, it stayed with that image because I used it multiple times. Okay. And then it shows the wall display and also the individual. So maybe if I wanted to add another one of these, I could. Okay. And then also your whole order notes, the referral credit. And then I can make adjustments here, and I can say retouching charges. It's going to be an upcharge of $50, let's just say. Okay. And you can decide whether that's taxable or not. And then also I'm going to add another adjustment, and this is going to be a discount, flat rate, referral. And I'm giving them $50 for a referral. So it all balances out here. And when you're ready to check out, you just put the customer's info, hit continue, and you could do an in-person payment, which is cash, check, or maybe you have your own merchant, but you can also use InView's merchant and add the credit card. Okay. And if you do in-person payment, maybe it's a check number or a reference customer number. Hit continue, place the order. And now you can email that, or you can print that to your customer and it shows the details and you're all set and ready to go. And you can also go straight to proceed to fulfillment. All right. So is there any questions about that workflow before I move on to show you in the event dashboard where the activity shows up? Make sure. All right. If so, we can go back. So now I'm going to go ahead and end the sales session, and I am going to go back to my admin, the event dashboard. So now if you're looking here on my screen, I now have stats. Okay. So when I scroll down, it's telling me, okay, I now have this email address. The sales session took us 7 minutes, and I now have an order number. So you can go straight to that order from here. But what I want to focus on is showing you where that information shows up. So you have your email address, and that's why it's important to begin sales session, but also important to require an email address for each customer. So when I click on this, I now know that it's an in-person sales session. Here are their folders. So they have album and art, ratings, and then their purchased images with their order number. So then I can move on to the next steps in my workflow. And this is very similar for the client gallery. There's just a few different features that are different. So if I want to create a client gallery from an IPS session, I can simply select all of the images, or I can select the client's choices. And this is another topic that's pretty, you have a lot that you can ask about in here, because you can choose only their yeses and maybes and exclude the nos. And then if you want, you can hide the all images or keep the empty categories if I want. And you can also create a new category, but I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And now it tells me, all right, you do have some hidden. Do you want to take some of these and put them, all the no's back, or the images that we didn't select? Maybe you want to put those in there. So you now can sort through all of those, or you can select all and hit continue. And now you can go through the setup, which is very similar to the IPS, which we have review, which we can focus on another time. That's a marketing tool that we have for you guys. All right, so now that event's ready to go, you make sure that all your settings are set for a client gallery, and you want to make sure you publish and share that with your customers. Okay, so that's the event dashboard, and that's how you create an event. I'm going to turn on my camera so I can see you guys. And then if you have more questions, we can go there. But we went longer than normal. So thank you for hanging with me on that. Make sure that my camera is working. All right. Let's see. Okay. How was it? What'd you guys think?
So I have a question.
Any questions? No?
Hey, Michelle, I have a question.
Right. Then everybody knows how to create an event and where all that information is. And like I said, those help articles are really helpful, any page that you're on. But also, if you're not part of our private Facebook group, please join. It's called Your InView Space. We have a lot of information there as well, but we have a great team. Okay, Carl has a question. I'm ready. Shoot.
All right, can you hear me at all or no?
I can't hear you. You might be muted. Here, I'll unmute you. I'll ask you to unmute. How's that? All right.
All right, what about now? Hello?
Oh, maybe it's me. Go ahead and make sure my sound is working. Built in. Let me just make sure it's not me, guys. Okay, well, it says it's, I should be good to go. I just can't hear. Can someone else say something?
Test one, hello?
Oh, there you are.
Weird, okay.
That was
So,
weird.
when you are doing like when you put stuff online, right, you want to make sure like everything is like watermarked and good to go, right?
Mhm.
So, but if you have people come into like your studio for a session, is there a way to like not have them watermarked? So can you,
Not have them watermarked or watermarked.
like, yeah, when you're in studio, not have them watermarked, but when they're online, have them watermarked. Can you do it that way or no?
Yeah, you have the control to watermark your images for an in-person sales session or a client gallery or not.
Okay,
So not just for remote, you can do it in person there in the studio too,
Right.
whichever your preference is. Absolutely.
yeah, because I want to use this more in studio, but like right now I've been using Lightroom, and that's not good, so I want to switch over to this.
You know, what we have found for those that use Lightroom, there's nothing wrong with that. But what we've done is taken it a step further for you so that you have the option to have more control over the sales session with your customer and the experience, but also less human error with taking notes. You know what I'm saying? And then also the room view feature and all the recorded information that you have access to we found is really important, and it makes a difference for those businesses. That's what we're hearing, what we're seeing and experiencing. So
yeah, when they come in, like right now, I'm doing like this and like everything, and that's a pain in the butt. So
yeah, well, that's our goal. We want to keep things very simple. We want you to look good. We want to make it simple for you, and we want to maximize your revenue per image that you upload to us. So that is very important to us to help you with. So Yogi has a question. Is there a video on how to set up studio price lists in different category, i.e. weddings and portraits? Yes, we do have videos. I have some live demos, and that I know in the next several weeks we will touch base on the price list, but I don't want you to wait for those. So I'll give you some that we've already done. You can also call our team. We're happy to work with you on that. But we do have suggested portrait, wedding, senior. So you can go in and take a look and use what we have and just make some changes or add some things, take it away, or you can create one from scratch if you'd like. Okay, but yes, absolutely.
And Michelle, two quick things. When you have a moment, is there any way I can like maybe just go over competitive pricing with you?
Yeah.
And number two, the QR code thing you were talking about. Yep, I started using that for all my game shots and for doing like just like having people find the website like a lot easier, and that works like a charm. So thank you for that.
Oh, yay. So what Carl's referring to, for those that are still with us, is if you remember, I was talking about the pre-posting and the coming soon. So if you know that you have an event, like a wedding or a sporting event or a school, and you want them to be able to access the gallery even before the images are uploaded and ready, they can enter their email address, and as soon as they have the image, the photographer has the images there and it's published, it will notify them via email that their event images are ready for viewing and ordering. And so you can create a QR code, a short URL or a link to that gallery with the coming soon page. And we do have a video on some suggestions and how to do that. That I can share with anyone who is interested. But Carl, I'm so happy to hear that that's working for you. Yeah, so you make these event cards, pass them out on the back side. It has the QR code, which is so nice now with all the COVID and health things that are going on. So people don't have to type in on a iPad or a computer there at the event. And you don't have to have another person doing that for you. So that helps you out as, you know, as a business person. So very good. I'm glad to hear that, Carl. That warms my heart that things are working for you. All right. So the question is, can you please share the links to setting up price list and QR code? My email is this. Absolutely. I'll get that over to you shortly. And we'll make sure that you have access to that. If nobody has any further questions, we'll wrap up. Again, I'm so sorry we took a little bit longer than normal, but I wanted to go through and give you a little bit more information and details that you can leave with. I think it makes more sense. All right. Well, thank you. Happy New Year. And you know, we are doing this every other Wednesday now into the new year, depending on, you know, our feedback. So I won't see you next week. I will be at Imaging. I'll be returning next Wednesday from Imaging USA. And so I'll give you an update on how that went as well on our next meeting. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Yay. Bye, Yogi. I'll see you at
Bye.
Imaging. Take care. Thank you for joining me.